Hello everyone, it's Lion here with Hobbies of a Man. And quick note before we start the video, please like and subscribe and comment down below. I'm trying to get over 50 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you guys could help me out, that'd be awesome. I'm doing a week of daily uploads for this last week of May of 2020, and that's just so I can try to get more people interested and more people into the channel. And thank you guys very much for listening, and enjoy the video. Hello everyone, it's Lion here with Hobbies of a Man once again, and today we're going to do a manga review. Now today's manga review is going to feature 3 volumes of There's a Demon Lord on the Floor. That's volume 1, this is volume 2, this is volume 3. Now, this series is written by Hato, okay, and it's illustrated by Masaki Kawakami. Now, Masaki Kawakami is a very talented artist, and he draws really well. But this cover, whoever decided that this was the cover for this is crazy, because this is not going to sell in the US, okay? Japan doesn't make manga for the US. They make it for Japan, and then they export it to the US because people pay them. So their market isn't the US. They just profit off of it because it's useful. Yeah. Before we begin, talk about this cover. Don't judge it. Don't judge this book by this cover. If you don't like lollies, that's fine. But don't blast it for having a lolly character, because the lolliness of the character really makes sense in the story. She's a demon lord, and she actually looks like an adult. This is her proper form, but because she got moved to Earth after losing a battle where she lost a lot of mana, she is stuck in this form unless she recovers mana, and she hasn't found a way to do that. And the only way that she has found to do that as of the beginning of the story, is eating this food by this guy named Koichi, who is the male character in this book. And since it's so delicious, she gets an increase in mana, and then she's able to retain her adult form for a couple minutes, maybe-ish. I'm not really sure how long it lasts. And yes, this is just a ploy in order to have a character that is both a lolly and lootable, like, you know, easily. But it's also fitting of the story and of the character. The character of Amon Patricia, the demon lord on the picture, is a kind of spoiled, entitled kind of brat. But she's also very noble, and she cares about her friends and her people. And she's been, you know, displaced from her world. She lost a war. She basically has had to restart and hasn't been able to do it well. And now, at the beginning of the story, she's finally kind of able to do things properly-ish. And she decides that it's time to, you know, get a job, which is kind of Devil's a part-timer-ish. And yeah, so what happens after that? Oh, well, before that, that was kind of my disclaimer. So, properly, this story's genre is, comedy. It has elements of ecchi, and it has elements of supernatural stuff. This is also published by 7 Seas, as you can see. There's 8 volumes in the series. I only own the first 3. I already told you who it was written by in the title. What else? It doesn't have an adaptation from what I can tell. I haven't found any sources that say it does. So it doesn't so far. So I already mentioned a few of these things in my disclaimer. But basically the premise of this book is that this demon lord and 2 of her trusted allies that managed to survive this war kind of are in the human world and are stuck living under this the floor of this restaurant called Humming Dining. Now, at the beginning of the book, Amon Patricia, the demon lord, decides that she has to get a job, basically because they're hungry and they haven't eaten in days and they want to be able to eat. Now, that seems kind of a serious intro, but it's ridiculous. This whole book, or these whole 3 volumes, are really just about a group of characters doing wacky things as they live their lives, kind of. So it's kind of like a slice of life It's just a comedy. It's kind of a sitcom because every chapter is a different story that's kind of short. It's episodic. It doesn't have a huge overarching plot line, at least not one that I've really discerned. I guess you could say that Amon wants Koichi, the male character, to become her vassal, and everything she kind of does plays on that, but not really, because she doesn't really emphasize that all that often. It's just when it's beneficial for her to get him to make her food and he doesn't want to, she's like, damn, I should make my vassal. But it's really just a kind of running gag-ish kind of thing. So the first volume, this one shows us a lot of characters. We get Amon Patricia, which is the main character. We get Nonko, who's her black dragon of death or something, but it's really a mushroom girl. She is my favorite character in this whole series. We have Koichi, which is the male character in the back. We have Mutsu, which is here in the front. We have the boss, that's Salute, and that's a Kisaragi. Kisaragi. So, these are the main characters. There's a few other characters that show up in the other volumes. Like in volume 2, we get Nokadoko, which is this ghost girl that lives in the urn because she like haunts it or something. And then in this volume, we get Orpheus the Sword, who is Kisaragi's like mother figure, kind of. Let's see if I can show you a picture of her. It's just a giant black, sword. There you go. That's it. That's Orpheus the Sword. So, those are all the characters that have shown up so far. And yeah, like I mentioned, this story is really just, these books are really just compilations of short stories that all deal with the same characters that happen, in a progressive timeline, but are individual to each other, right? So this first volume deals kind of with all the introductions, and so every story kind of introduces a different character, and basically kind of sets up that, Koichi makes delicious food. Everyone wants to eat it, and in particular, the demons get mana from it, and so they return to their proper forms and get to eat, and get to use magic for the time that the food lasts in their system, which basically means, or the mana from the food lasts in their system, which is basically a couple minutes. Now, Amon is actually an adult, but because of her lack of mana, she goes into power saving mode, essentially. And when she gets to eat, that's what she looks like. I would show you what Nonko looks like, but all of her images are kind of lewd, so I probably shouldn't. And yeah, Kisaragi doesn't get that effect because I guess she's not really mana based as much as Nonko and what's her name? Amon do, so she kind of looks like a teenage girl most of the time. Except when she wears her armor, which makes her like 7 feet tall for some reason. And yeah, so I'm gonna give you the highlights of each book, like the best stories in each book, because I tried recording this earlier and it was 25 minutes long. I mean, a lot of it was me ranting about how lollies aren't that bad, but I'm gonna try not to do that because although they aren't bad, it's kind of my reasonings are not gonna be something that people on Twitter like, and I don't want to get canceled, so I'm not gonna talk about it anyway. Yeah, so the first story, the best part of it was probably one of the second to last story, which is a food festival, and they have these like kids things happening, and one of the things that happens is that there's this tokusatsu like play kind of happening. It's like a Power Ranger group or like a Kamen Rider group fighting this girl in a dragon costume, and Amon watches it, and because she's kind of like a kid-ish kind of, like the way she views the world is kind of more naive, childish than you would assume. She doesn't understand that the demon isn't a demon, it's just a girl playing a part. and she treats it like it's a real thing. Kind of, she's kind of like a Chinubi, or like a Chuni, which is you know, the same type of character type as Megumin from Konosuba, which kind of really fits actually. Amon Patricia is very much like Megumin, except the things that are make them weird are kind of different. So that happens, and she does this speech about how demon kind shan't be beaten by humans, and how they deserve better and stuff. And the girl in the suit kind of, you know, identifies that with that, because she's been having a really rough time. And then they like do a play fight, and then they beat the good guys or whatever. And you know, that's kind of the end of it. But the story overall was really kind of wholesome, and it really kind of showed that Amon Patricia is a good person and a good character and stuff. Beyond the fact that, you know, she's like a cute lolly that can transform into a hot woman. And yeah, volume 2, probably the best part was, okay, so the Koichi gets turned into a cat because Amon does some magic, and it backfires and it doesn't work properly, and so he becomes a cat. And that was probably the most fun, because it was like all the girls treating Koichi like a cat, and it was really like funny and stuff, and it was fun. You know, just like how everyone was like, oh, such a cute kitty and stuff, and then it was like, oh no, it's a person. And you know, it was just cool. It was enjoyable. This one really kind of developed each character a lot. Like, it showed you Koichi's past. It taught you something about Kisaragi, and it taught you something about Nonko, and gave you a lot more of that, like, Mom Patricia is a good guy kind of thing. And yeah, they kind of had a beach episode in this one as well. Well, it was like a heat wave, and so they all wore swimsuits because the boss told them that it would help them cool down, which is kind of accurate, but it was just the boss being a pervert, which is funny. And yeah, the third volume introduces Orpheus, and the best story in this volume was the Christmas story. This volume was kind of like the holiday special. Every story revolved around a holiday. Christmas one was the best. It was really wholesome, how like Amon Patricia was like, oh, there's this guy that gives us presents. That's awesome. And then everyone kind of tries to, you know, save it from her, or hide it from her, that Santa Claus isn't real. And eventually she figures out that, you know, it's not real, but it's okay, because she thinks it's Koichi, and she's like, Koichi, I love you, and I want you to be, you know, part of my people. And I really appreciate you and stuff. And Koichi is like, oh, that's nice. And he spent a lot of time preparing this like special, you know, setup where he like makes it all Christmassy and stuff, and he buys her presents and gives her stuff, and she really likes it. Like, he gives her a reindeer, and she like loves it, and it's just a really wholesome, cute experience. And that's probably the best one in that book. And yeah, so I really recommend this series if you guys like fun, and if you guys like you know, cute ecchi stuff. It's a very like moe title, I guess. Everything is really enjoyable. The only thing is the fact that, you know, the main character is Lolly, but the fact is that it's, you know, once per volume maybe that she gets like looted as a lolly. And looted is a strong term, because she doesn't really, I don't know, I don't care either way, like if there's lollies or if there aren't lollies. It's just that this one, because it's an ecchi title, might, you know, make people on Twitter, and I you know, do it if you want, I guess. But and if you don't like lollies, you know, don't read it. But this is I think it's a fun title, and I think that you shouldn't judge it by its cover or the fact that it is a lolly character, because it is very fun, and a lot of the times it is rather wholesome, even within the scope of being ecchi. So yeah, it's a very fun story. I definitely recommend it, but I can't really think of anything similar, because most other comedy ecchi stuff is very fan service heavy and very like raunchy. This isn't all that raunchy. There are some bits and pieces, but it's mostly a character or two. It's not really like the purpose of the book to be raunchy. So yeah. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Comment down below. Have you guys read it? What do you think about it? Did you agree with me about how the lolly character is there, but it's not really played for fan service, so it's kind of okay? What are your thoughts on lollies? And yeah, we can have a discussion about that if you guys want. And yeah, so thank you guys very much for watching. See you later.